Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to draft a straight skirt pattern. So let's get started. So the first thing I did was to draw a straight line at the beginning of my paper, and that will serve as my waistline. So I'm simply going to label it. Then next I will take my horizontal measurement, and the first measurement I took was my hip line, which is 9 inches. You can use 8 depending on the size of the person. You can as well measure on the body of the person. So I'll draw a straight line across. I'm going to label that also, my hip line. Then the last horizontal measurement I'll take is my skirt length, and that will be about 27 inches, including my sewing allowance. The skirt length is actually 25, but I added 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So I'm just going to mark that line across like so. So I'll draw a straight line also. So next I'm going to take my waist circumference. My waist circumference divided by 4 is 7.5, but I'll add 2.5 inches for sewing allowance. This is because 1 inch will be for my dart, while the other 1.5 inches will be the sewing allowance. Then for my hip, I'll divide my hip circumference by 4, which is 10 inches, and I'll also add 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. And for my skirt length, I'm going to remove 1.5 inches from my hip circumference. So my hip circumference is 10. I'll remove 1.5 inches from it. It will be 8.5. Then I'll add 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. So I'm simply going to connect all the lines together. So I will use my hip curve to connect my hip with my waist. Then I'll also connect my hip to my skirt length. So the next thing I'll do now is to measure my dart. So I will divide my nipple to nipple measurement by 2. It's 8 divided by 2 will give me 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches at my waistline, and I'll also come down from that line, that dot that I made, I'll come down by 4 inches also. Then I'll connect the dots together. Then remember that 1 inch I added for my allowance at my waist. I'm going to remove half an inch on both sides of the line that I made. And this will serve as my dart. Then I'll simply connect it. So that's my dart. I'm simply going to label it. And this is it. This is the front part of my skirt. And now for the back, I'm going to remove 1 inch from the edge of my paper, and this is going to serve as my zip allowance. You can use 1.5 inches or 2 inches, but I usually use 1 inch for my zip allowance. So I'm going to draw a straight line like so. Then I'm simply going to label that as my zip allowance. So the same measurement I took at the front, I'm going to take it at the back. That's my waistline. Then I'll take my waist to hip, that's 9 inches. Now connect the line like so. Now I'll take my waist to my skirt length, which is 27 inches, including my allowance. And I'll just simply connect the lines together. So next, I'm going to measure my waist circumference. I'm going to start from that line of my zip allowance. Please don't forget to start from the line of your zip allowance. So my waist divided by 4 is 7.5, and I'll add 2.5 inches. Remember, I added 2.5 inches also at the front. This is 1 inch for my dart and 1.5 inches for my skirt allowance. At my hip also, I'll divide my hip by 4, which is 10 inches, and I'll add 1.5 for my allowance. Then, like I did at the front, I'm going to remove 1.5 from my hip circumference. That's 8.5. Then I'll add 1.5 for my allowance. Then I'll simply connect like so. I use my hip cuff to also connect. I'm just simply going to label it. I'll take my dart measurement, which is nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 4. Then I'll also come down by 4 inches. Then I'll connect the line together. Then I'll take half an inch on both sides. Then I'll also connect. It's the same thing I did in the front that I did at the back. The only difference is the zip allowance. So we are done, and I'm simply going to cut it out. I'm cutting the back first. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are enjoying the video. You can also like the video and share. Thank you. So right now, I'm also going to cut the front pattern. So we are done. I'm done drafting my skirt pattern. In my next video, I will show you how to cut on the material and to sew it. Thank you for watching.